feet are like right in front of the camera. Okay, there's like rest of the coffee.
Alright, you have to start over.
Yeah. Okay, what are we supposed to forget about again?
Alright,
Ruth?
the story is entitled
I know that was a joke.
The story is entitled Zipper to the Underworld, what really happened to Ichabod Crane, forget everything you thought you knew about indoor plumbing. Alright, so the first thing that you have to forget that you thought you knew is the world really is not round, it's flat.
Wait, what is this?
Otherwise, because if the world was really round, there would be no underworld, which means there would be no zipper to the underworld, which would mean that there would be no toilet. So, the fact that toilets exist indicate that the world is actually flat. Anyway.
That makes sense. Oh.
So the world is flat. And down in the underworld, Hades, the god of the underworld, is just chilling. Now, like, what sort of, like... he's chilling. You know, like, really, like, the underworld's kind of dark, it's kind of boring. Like, what sort of decorations do you put in the underworld? Like, if you're gonna live there. Yeah, you can put posters, but that's just boring. Like, there's no lights down there.
Does he wear shirts with animals and sunglasses on it?
Yeah.
That's the definition of irony I learned 2 days ago.
Anyway, so he's just, like, chilling down there. One day he looks around, he's like, I live in this really boring flat underneath the world, and dead people come visit me, and it's just really dull. So he hired out some contractors to put in, you know, decorations and everything. And one of the contractors had these really great ideas to make bottomless pits in the underworld, you know, kind of to add to, like, the sinisterness of this place, like, you know, howling bottomless pits that, like, make sounds of, like, doom and gloom and everything. Well, this contractor was, like, really creative, but he wasn't very good with a shovel. He also was not very good at math. So it's important that you guys are good at math and do your calculations right and make sure that what you're digging into is, like, structurally sound.
That was the moral, everybody.
That's the moral of the story. But on the other hand, anyway, you'll see why that this contractor's, like, ineptitude led to the foundation of indoor toilets. So this contractor, he dug, like, thousands of these bottomless pits, right? And then one day, there was, like, a minor earthquake, not a big one, just a minor one, change of leaves.
Like a nice bedtime story.
It was a minor earthquake, and what happened is that some of the walls started caving in around these bottomless pits, and some of the surface, you know, like the ceiling of the underworld and, like, the ground of the actual world kind of started caving in. So there were actually some openings that opened up from our world down into the bottomless pit, and this was kind of a huge problem because, like, people would be walking along and they'd fall down a bottomless pit and they just keep, like, screaming and screaming and screaming, and Hades got really sick of the noise. It was just really obnoxious. So Hades doesn't like to do things himself that much, so he went and he found another contractor who's more efficient, and he said, I want you to close up these holes.
I thought you were going to be like soundproof rooms.
And he's like, can you please close up these, like, openings that this bottomless pit, you know, has made into the upper world? And so the contractor's like, okay, we're like, let's think about something that the humans are never going to figure out how to open, you know, because part of the problem was, like, people would fall in, and then their loved ones would go jumping in to try and save them, and then, like, yeah, there's just lots of people going through the underworld that Hades didn't want to deal with. Anyway, so Hades was like, let's figure out how to close this up. So this contractor, he thought for many, many years about how to do it, and finally, he designed something that
I thought you said he was efficient.
Right, but, you know.
Efficiency has its limits.
Yeah, efficiency has its limits when you're designing something as great as the zipper.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this not living up to par?
No, that was good. That was good.
So anyway, what this contractor did was he installed zippers, and that's actually how zippers originated. Was this contractor installed the zippers to close up the holes in the underworld, and this worked for many years. Like occasionally someone would stumble across them and they'd be like, "What is this?" You know, and then they just keep going, and people weren't falling into the bottomless pits
Wait,
anymore.
there were zippers in the ground?
Yeah, they like zipped up the ground over the top of these bottomless pits.
Okay.
So anyway, so this worked for many, many years. Until one day, this man named Ichabod Crane, he was like walking along. He was this like really kind of ugly school teacher who lived in Sleepy Hollow, as Eva informed me. Anyway, that's all that really is true about Ichabod Crane. Like everything else you've ever heard about him is not quite true. But anyway, so Ichabod Crane's stumbling along, and he tripped and he fell asleep for like 20 years.
It's really tired.
That's what I normally do when I trip and fall.
Getting up just seems so much energy.
Did you base Ichabod Crane around hell?
I feel like it got me my water bottle before I couldn't sleep for like 50 more years.
But while Ichabod Crane was asleep, he dreamed. He thought, what if there was some world? What's going on? He said, what if there was a world where you didn't have to go outside in the cold to go to the bathroom? Like, you know, in the wintertime, it's not very pleasant to go out to an outhouse. And so while Ichabod Crane dreamed, he dreamed of like some kind of indoor outhouse system. So he woke up and he was really excited about this. And then
all of the people he once knew were then now dead.
Only 20 years. I'm like Trigma.
Yeah, you might be alive when you're 64, right?
Something like that. He also announced his dad's age to everyone at the table.
Really? How old is Dad?
48.
He doesn't have much longer then. He's like, maybe Cedric would go off to college. Maybe.
That is about
64?
no.
Oh, 48?
Yeah.
Really? My stepdad's like 70 years old. No, he literally like says how he's gonna die like tomorrow, like every day, and I'm just like, that's morbid, but thanks.
Is that all for me?
Yeah.
Nice. I can have Hannah's energy.
You can have my women's energy tea.
Oh, I thought you said Hannah's energy too. I need that.
You're a woman.
Alright. Back
You need
to
it.
the story.
okay,
Yeah.
so Ichabod Crane.
You're like, got this shit. I'm gonna go. You're like, and the trip to go back. Oh.
So he woke up, 20 years later, and he was like, guys, I have this great idea. And everybody looks at him and goes, yeah, you can move the outhouse inside, but where are you going to put all that shit? Like, where are you going to go? So Ichabod Crane was like, this is a problem. And he spent an additional 20 years trying to figure it out. He was like really old and getting a little senile by that point.
He took any more naps.
And anyway, so one day he was walking again in the forest, which he promised his friends and family not to do, being on account of how he kept falling asleep for deer. Anyway, and he tripped and he fell, and instead of falling asleep for 20 years, he fell upon something really like hard and bumpy and weird. Like, imagine if you fell on a giant zipper. What it would feel like. That's what he landed on, was this giant zipper.
Which part of the zipper?
Huh? Just like the middle part, not the actual, like, the end of it, just like the part in the middle.
I mean, there's really only so many parts.
Wait, that was a legitimate question. That made me think about it.
So, most ordinary people would get up and be like, that's really weird and not very comfortable. I'm just going to pretend I didn't see it and keep going. Not Ichabod Crane.
It was just fall on a huge zipper. Keep going.
Ichabod and crawled along the zipper until he got to the end where he saw the little, like, you know, the thing
tab.
that, the tab, yeah. And most normal people would be like, that's weird, and walk away. Not Ichabod Crane. He grabbed a hold of the end and he started tugging it up and, like, to the front and to the side. Finally he tugged it back and a small hole opened and he heard the whoosh of this bottomless pit beneath the zipper. And most people, when they find a bottomless pit, would just run in the other direction, but not Ichabod Crane. He was like, this is the answer. This is where I'm putting all the shit. So what he did was he designed these bloobs, which are these blue
favorite kind of boobs.
And he ran them from his house to this bottomless pit so he could start experimenting with his indoor And it was fantastic. People were like, this is great. What's your secret? And he was like, bottomless pit. They're like, no, really, what's your secret? He's like, bottomless pit. So anyway, people started looking for more of these bottomless pits.
Don't you hate it when people doubt your bottomless pit?
Right, exactly. How annoying is that? So he starts looking around for more of these bottomless pits, and they find them, you know, and now they know how to open zippers, and they can just open them a little bit and, like, run the bloobs out to them, and, you know, and it's perfect system. It's really clean. It works really well. So anyway, yeah, Hades is down there, and he's walking around, and he's like, why does it smell like shit down here? Like, this is gross. So he sends some scouts, because he never does anything himself. He sends some scouts out to figure out what's going on, and they realize what's happening. And so Hades is really mad. And you know who else is really mad? The chamber pot companies. Because this has completely run them out of business.
Nobody gets that. What? That was a plot twist.
Mines. I just think about mines.
Mines is now synonymous with plot twist.
So anyway, Hades is like, okay, well, we gotta figure something out. So he sends to, like, the head honcho at a chamber pot company, and they come down and they talk about it. And then Hades decides is what they really need is first, you know, something new, something that humans haven't figured out yet to close up these holes so they can replace with the zippers. And also, he really needs to, like, scare Ichabod Crane into, you know, not dumping all of this shit down his bottomless holes. So what he does is he gets a chamber pot and he paints it bright orange. And then Hades himself, means that it's a very important task, because usually Hades, like, contracts out for everything. But Hades is like, no, I want to get this guy myself. So Hades pulls up his collar really tall, so it doesn't look like he has a head, wears this big black cape and everything, and grabs this orange chamber pot, jumps on his horse, rides out of the underworld, gallops down upon Ichabod Crane as he's walking home from, you know, checking out his tubes. Right? So that's kind of where the Headless Horseman story came from, except it wasn't actually a pumpkin. It was an orange chamber pot that Hades, like, chucked it at Ichabod Crane, and Ichabod Crane just had a heart attack right on the spot and was like, okay, I'm done with this.
I mean, a pumpkin and chamber pot's an easy mistake for anyone.
You can understand why history just lies.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like in this case it wasn't history's fault. It was more like chamber pots look so much like pumpkins.
And who witnessed this event to, like, tell it to other people?
There was a little, like, minion, like, of Hades just kind of chilling out there with, like, a pen and paper that, you know, the minion's name was Washington Irving. That's right? Yeah. And, you know, that's how it got circulated. That's how this got published.
Okay.
It's amazing that Hades minions have really, like, American names.
Anyway, so that temporarily solved the problem, and then Hades was like, I need to figure out something else that they'll never, you know, humans will never be able to figure out. So humans went back to using chamber pots and outhouses after that. And found another contractor who was like, I got this great idea. It's called Velcro. They'll never get it. Ever. Right? So, Hades has all of his zippers Velcroed over, thinking that humans will never figure this out. But, think about it, guys. We have toilets. We know how to use Velcro. Which means that there are still bloobs that are dumping everybody's shit into these bottomless holes, and it's only a matter of time before Hades finds out and comes galloping down upon us all with orange chamber pots. So, that's why the Earth is
It sounds like tectonic plates. What about tectonic plates?
That's when people open the Velcro and it shifts everything.
The tectonic plates are Velcro together.